all of you are doing well. And Seb, you want to say something?
No, I'm sorry. I just
Okay. We will start recording. Okay. Before I share with you the first, sorry. Before I share with you today's lecture, let's summarize what we talked about in the last lecture, which is the lecture of listening. Listening, yes, the lecture of that beautiful day. So, you can remind me what was the point that we have talked about in the last lecture, and like it's like a summary for the last session. Okay, Muhammad Islam. Thanks. Thanks. For what, Islam? Salah. Difference between listening and hearing. Good. What else? Islam, what you're trying to say? Thanks for what? I'm asking you a question. Salah said the difference between listening and hearing, the purpose of listening. Good. What else? Why do we listen? The purpose of listening. Why do we listen? To understand. Okay. What else? To reply. Are you sure, Usama? Respect each other. Okay. I'm not. Okay. So, Usama, last time we said that one of the main points of effective listening is that you don't think of the reply, of the response that you will give after finishing that speech. So to reply, it's not an appropriate answer here, okay? Of course, you will reply to that person, and since you are listening to him, but don't make it the one of the purposes that makes you listening. To show interest, maybe, yes. The purpose of listening, yes, man. That I'm asking about the purpose of listening. Benefits of good listening. Yes, those are from the points that we have talked about. Yes, benefits. What are the benefits, in fact? We don't say a good listening, but we say an effective listening. Effective listening is better than good listening. What are the benefits of effective listening, in fact? Improving self-esteem. Good. Okay. What else? Okay, just let's move to our lecture of today. Before I start, I want to tell you that the lectures that we did till now, the second semester's lectures, are on Moodle, but not all the specialties. Okay, I downloaded them to industrial اندستريال والفوندا باك اللي حطيت لهم الدروس اللي درنا لهم لحد الان في مود الباقي دوك نحطهم لكم ماشي ما نحطهم لكمش بصح اذا راكم مزروبين بهم باش تريفيزيو باش كاين اللي قالوا لي الساده بعثينا الدروس باش نبداو نريفيزيو الامتحان باش نقدروا نلحقوا ماشي كيما السمستر الاول اذا راكم مزروبين تلقاوهم عندي الفوندا والاندستريال ومن بعد نكمل نحطهم في تاع الإيا والآثار الدروس اللي درناهم لحد الآن في second semester. Okay, now let's move to our lecture. Can you see the screen? Is it clear for you? Yes, so perfect. Today we will have speaking skills. Starting with the definition. Speaking effectively is defined as speaking in such a way that your message is clearly heard and, if possible, acted upon. There are two main elements to speak effectively: what you say and how you say it. So speaking effectively means that you speak in a manner that your message will be clearly understood and, if possible, acted upon, which means that the person you are talking to will do what you said or will take it into consideration to work with it in his life. Okay, that's what we mean by listening effectively. There are two main elements to speak effectively. What you say and how you say it. Those are the two main elements that are important in effective listening. Okay? Or you have to take into consideration. What you say means your choice of words. You have to choose your words depending on whom you are talking to. The words you might use when chatting to a friend are likely to be quite different from those used in a formal presentation or interview. You don't talk or you don't say the same words to your friend as to your teacher, for example, or to your boss in the work, or to your mother or father. Okay, that's what do we mean by what you say, which means choosing your words. Similarly, the way that you speak will also vary in different situations. However, there are also likely to be some common factors, for example, whether you naturally talk quietly or loudly, and how you use your body language. How you say it, here we mean the way, even though you choose your words, but the way you say those words also makes a difference. And also it depends on the situation. There are some common factors, for example, like we have here, whether you naturally talk quietly or loudly, and how you use your body language, and so on. All those factors play a role here in affecting the way you are speaking. For example, uh, when you speak loudly in a presentation. It's something normal, I think, to speak loudly in a presentation. So you will make sure that the audience can listen, hear you, and listen to you, both of them. But when you're talking to your friend in the street, or I don't know when, like let's say in the street, when you're talking to your friend in the street and you speak or you talk loudly, people seeing you will think that you are fighting, you're not talking. Even though I don't believe too much that this rule. But yes, it's something logic. I think that people will think that you are fighting with your friends if they can hear that you're speaking loudly. Then we have aspects of effective listening, as which we were talking about. Uh, Effective speaking. Effective speaking means being able to say what you want to say it in such a way that it is heard and acted upon. Whether you are talking to a major conference about a new scientific discovery, your children about their behavior, or your boss about a pay raise, you need to be able to speak effectively. This means considering every possible tool and aspect to ensure that nothing distracts or detracts from your message. So you will not be misunderstood. Like as we have here in the examples, talking with your children, for example, about behaviors or their behaviors. Maybe someone will say, why I have to choose what I will say to my children. They are my children, and I treat them the way I want, and I talk with them or I speak with them the way I want, and no one can say no. But if you want your children to act upon what you said, so you will have to choose your words. You have to take some points into consideration. Your words, your voice, your, as we said, the body language. Choosing, sorry, there are three main elements of effective speaking, which are the words you use, the voice, as we said, and we have the third point, which is your other non-verbal communication, particularly body language. As you notice, body language is almost mentioned in all the skills, in all the communication skills as as a necessary point, as a point that should be taken into consideration, as we said, or as we have seen in listening, and now we have with speaking. Body language is important, so we can conclude that body language is an important element to communicate, to have an effective communication process. Starting with choosing your words, what you say, the words you choose matters. If in doubt about your meaning, your audience will come back to the words that you used and double check what you might have meant. It is therefore important to choose carefully, especially when you are saying something important, even though when you are saying something not important. Things to consider include, like the things that you have to take into consideration when you are choosing your words include your audience. The words you choose will be different if you are talking to 200 people at a conference, a trusted colleague, your boss, or your children. You need to think about your audience's overall level of understanding of the subject and also the type of language that you use. Let's start with the level of understanding. If you are talking to a child of, like, let's say, 6 or 5 years, it's not the same when you are talking to a child with 12 years old, okay? The level of understanding differs. And it's not the same thing when you are talking to someone who is 20 years old and someone who is 40 years old, okay? The level of understanding differs. Maybe, even though, even if you are talking to someone who's uh, let's say 25 years old and someone who is 40 years old, but the one who's 25 years old is not is educated, the one who's 40 years old is not educated. So the level of understanding here differs. You have to choose your words. You can't say, you can't speak in the same words with both of us or both of them. Maybe the one who is educated will understand the scientific words that you say or some words that are new, but the one who is not educated will not understand you. So you will make it easier for him, and you will talk or speak in a simple language so that the person you are speaking to will understand you. So here, the level of understandings is something should be taken into consideration. Also, the type of language that you use. The same thing. When you are talking to a colleague or to a friend, you will use less formal language that's from that language that you use with your boss or your teacher or in a conference, especially in conferences and presentations and so on. So being formal and informal here depends on the audience that you have. Then we have shorter sentences are easier to process and understand. Shorter sentences are easier to process and understand. Using shorter sentences also creates urgency. So, when you say like short sentences, not that long, sorry, long, complicated sentences, this will make the process of understanding what you are saying to the person, to the listener or the receiver of your words. It will make it easier for him. And it will, like, it will make the idea clear in a short period of time. Like, not only they will understand you, but you will save time for you so that you can say other things, for example, or something like this. Then we have simpler words are also easier to understand. If you cannot explain something in simple terms, you have probably not understood it yourself. If you can't say something if you have an idea and you can't say it in simple words, so it's not understood for you. You yourself, you didn't understood the point you would explain. This is particularly important if your audience are not all native speakers of the language. Like if you have audience of all native speakers, for example, of English or any other language, if all your audience are native speakers, so it will be less needed here to use simple words. But if they are non-native speakers or if they are like intercultural, so here you have to take into consideration all the nationalities or the languages that your audience use or understand. So you will make the sentences or the words simpler. And as I said, you will see that if, for example, someone from the audience, let's say that you're presenting in a conference and someone from the audience asked you about something, like you use the, let's say, not difficult words or complex words, but let's say not simple words. And someone from the audience asked you to make the idea clear for him or to make it more simple for him. And you can't answer or you can't reply or you can't make it clear or in simple words. So here it will be clear for the audience that you didn't understand or you don't understand the thing you are talking about. Okay, so you have to, when you want to check if you understood, sorry, the an idea or not, just try to say it in simple words and also in difficult words. Experience or check yourself in both. Okay. It is worth remembering, however, that words are only a part of your overall communication and message. The tone of the voice and your body language also send strong messages, as we said before. So the next point is your voice. Your voice can reveal as much about your personal history as your appearance. The sound of a voice and the content of speech can provide clues to an individual's emotional state. Okay, to make this idea, sometimes the point is difficult one. This is about the word tahar. When the point is difficult, even though the point is difficult, you can find a way to explain it in simple words. You can find a way. And as I said before, it depends on the audience. Okay, I'm not saying to explain a difficult, like a scientific text, to someone who is not educated, and he say that you have to explain it in simple words. No, here the idea itself for him is difficult, so you can't make it simple. But if you're talking to, if you're explaining, if you're explaining a scientific text for scientific students, so you can find a way that is simple. By saying simple, it doesn't mean that simple for all people, but at least simple for them to understand. You got me, Taha? I said, your audience differ. Okay, if you are talking to, for example, scientific students and explaining scientific text, you will find a way to explain it for them in simple words, even though maybe someone who's for example, let's say literature, who studied literature, will find it difficult. But for the scientific students, it's simple. So here it's okay. Even though the idea is difficult, but for them it's simple because they understand your words. Good. Let's move on. We said your voice can appearance, the sound of a voice and the content of speech can provide clues to an individual's emotional state. It's let's imagine sometimes it happens to you when you are talking to when your mom is talking to your youngest brother or sister, and she's shouting and saying like you don't have to repeat that, and she's about to hit him. But the moment he changed or she changed her voice into a louder voice and talk with a tone that is that tone of kids when they want something. So you will find the mother calm and acting like, oh, my kid, okay, it's okay, nothing happened, and so on. Okay, that's what we mean by saying that the sound of a voice and the content of speech can provide clues to an individual's emotional state. For instance, if self esteem is low, it may be reflected by hesitancy in the voice. When you hesitate in your voice, it may be understood that your self esteem is low. A shy person may speak quietly. A shy person may speak quietly, but someone who is confident in themselves will be more likely to have command of their voice and clarity of speech. Like someone who is confident and with a higher self-esteem will talk in a manner that will show that he is confident. His voice will be clear, will be heard from everyone, not like someone who is shy, maybe. It's worth taking time to improve your command over your voice, especially if you find it hard to speak in public. It can even help to boost confidence. There are some people that say that when, for example, when I'm teaching and I say to someone to, for example, especially with girls, when I say, please, can you raise your voice? She said, Miss, this is my voice. No, it's not your voice. You can work on your voice, so you will be your voice will be clearly heard. Your voice can, we said, your voice can reveal as much about your personal history as your appearance. The sound of a voice and the content of speech can provide clues to an individual emotional state. I think you heard this point. I explained it. You heard this point. Yes? Here I gave you The example of the mother and the child. Yes or no? Okay. The point after we have, for instance, if self-esteem is low, this is the point of confidence. You couldn't hear it. You was here when, or sorry, you were here when I explained the point of confidence? Okay. For instance, if self-esteem is low, it may be reflected by hesitancy in the voice. A shy person may speak quietly, but someone who is confident in themselves would be more likely to have command of their voice and clarity of speech. For example, for instance, the first point of hesitation when someone who is like we said, who have a low self-esteem, which means that he's not confident. Here, the tone and the rhythm and the clarity of his voice will show that his self-esteem is low. It will be clear from his voice, okay? But someone who is confident, who have a higher self-confidence, will seem that he is comfortable while talking and his voice will be clear. Okay, that's why you have to work on the level of your voice so that you will not seem that you are not confident or you are shy or you are afraid. It is worth taking time to improve your command over your voice, especially if you find it hard to speak in public. It can even help to boost your confidence. As I said when I was explaining, as I gave you an example of a girl when I'm teaching. Most of the time they are girls. I didn't face a boy till now who have a low voice. For boys, they either talk or not. Either I know that you are not out, Ayman, but you told them to get out. So you stayed here and you told them to get out. Anyways, um, I said when I have a girl, for example, one of my students who her voice is low. Okay, when reading, when presenting, when talking to me, even her voice is low. And when I ask her to raise her voice, she tell me, "This is my voice, miss." No, it's not your voice. Don't accept that it is my voice and stay. Work on your voice. You can make it better. You can make it understood. I am not saying that you have to shout or speak out loud, but at least your voice has to be understood. The person you are talking to or you are presenting to or something like this have to understand what you're saying. Your words or your the thing you're saying must be clear. Okay, so this is why, or that's why you have to work and work and work and practice your speaking skill. It is important to get used to the sound of your own voice. Most people are more relaxed in a private situation, particularly at home, where there are no person to conform or to any other social rules and expectations. This is not the case in public situations when there are all sorts of influence exerted upon the way people speak. So most of the people who are shy or who can't who doesn't have public speaking skill, they can present and they can talk very easy, very clear at home because it's their comfort zone. They are in their comfort zone and they can speak and they can say whatever you want. They want, sorry, with a clear voice and clear sentences and everything is perfect. But when it comes to university or the conference, or for example, when it comes to people, when they are going to talk or to speak in front of people, they will stop. They can't speak, they will feel shy and so on. Here, it's a problem. It's okay if you have this problem, but it's not okay if you kept this problem with you. It's not okay if you stay with this problem and say, okay, I'm like this, my voice is like this, the others have to accept me. No, work on your voice, work on your confidence, work on your self-esteem, practice. You can just notice it when you are preparing for a presentation to present it here. When you prepare it at home, you repeat it, you read it and you repeat it and you say, okay, it's okay for me. I can present. But when you come here to university, you can't. You stop. You stop at the first point. Why? Because you didn't practice well. You have to practice. Okay, you are in your comfort zone. You are at home, or for example, with your friends. You can speak like you are comfortable when speaking. Okay, practice. Practice to speak in front of them. Practice to speak in your comfort zone. So it will be easy for you when you go out for that comfort zone. Okay? But if you don't practice and you don't try your own, for example, at home, how you expect that you will do it in a good manner at university or in the conference or something like this? Did you get this point? So, often people don't like the sound of their of their own recorded voice, in the same way that some people that don't like photographs of themselves. They can feel embarrassed. Most of us, I think, when they hear their voices for the first times, for example, when you send a voice record or to a friend or someone on social media, and you hear your voice, you will say like, is this me? Do I really sound like that? Is this my voice? You will feel like surprised and like you will feel that that this person is not me. And most of us don't like their voices in records. And maybe sometimes there are some person who even deletes the record just because he didn't like his voice, or he didn't know himself like this. Most of us are not used to hearing our own voices, and these feelings are totally normal. Get past the initial "do I really sound like this" stage and develop a better understanding of your voice. As I said, you will do this by practicing. When you practice recording your voice and hear it each time, you will get used to it and you will feel comfortable and you will be proud of your voice and proud of the way you are presenting or speaking. The more you get used to the sound of your voice functioning in slightly more formal way, the easier it is when doing it for real. As I was saying now, when the more you practice, for example, presentations at home, it will be easier for you to present it here at university. The more you get used to the sound of your voice functioning, in a conversational mode, individuals tend to speak in short phrases, a few at a time. Speaking or reading aloud helps you to become used to the more fluent sound of your voice. Like when you are talking to your friend in, for example, a conversation, casual conversations, uh, the sentences you use are short, not like when you present. That's why it's most of the time difficult to switch from talking in English with my friend to present in English. Okay, especially the first times when you are not used to present. So here, not just practicing the language with other people will make you comfortable and confident from the language. Also, recording yourself presenting in that language in a formal way will help you more to have better speaking skills. Okay, this was the last point that we have. Who have any questions? Do you have any questions? Concerning all the points that we have talked about. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? You don't, since you are not answering. Since you don't have questions, I think it's a good subject to have a test on, right? Do I have to do a test tomorrow for you on this topic? So you agree, since you are not replying. Okay, this week you will have a test. A test, not a text. No, no. Now you are answering. You will have a test. I thought that you can't hear me. I thought that the network did its like the past time. But why? Huda, I will tell you why. Because I'm asking you since 2001 and you are not answering. You just answered when I mentioned the test. When I asked if something, when I asked if everything is clear, no one asked, no one answered. But when I said a test, they all said no. No, not all of them. We have 2 no's, 3 no's. Till now, you are not answering. For example, for explaining. Explaining what?